Measuring lights with naked human eyes don't give the correct results always. Reading reflected light with the camera's inbuilt meter is not accurate in many conditions, therefore for this it requires an 18% gray card. For the accuracy and perfection while shooting, an incident light measuring tool is must. Even today, whenever doing things professionally, you need to set the lights with the help of a light meter. Here we have Kelvino light meter, which fulfills all the needs of a professional photographer. It reads ambient light on priority modes, by which the photographer can control the depth of field and movement of the subject. It also has an important feature incorporated within it, which is its capability to measure the color temperature of lights to set white balance for real tone. Other than this, it can also read flash exposure on non-chord mode to set the ratios between key light, fill-in light, and backlight, etc. It also reads exposure in terms of frames per second for cine or video mode, which is very useful to set the lightings properly before shooting a video or a movie. Let us see how this meter works. Setting up Kelvino 7CX for measuring ambient exposure. This is the display screen. And this is the power switch. By pushing it up, it turns on, and by pushing it down, it turns off. As you turn on the power, the screen will either display CCT mode, or exposure mode depending upon the position of your mode switch. Below the mode switch, these are two buttons for entering into the menu, or for navigating up and down. And this is the OK button, to either select your options under menu, or to take a reading. When you are in exposure mode, the moment you press the OK button, it asks you to enter into menu first, to select your priority, and set the ISO. As you enter into the menu, there are 5 options displayed as priority, ISO, flash mode, cine mode and exit. Let us first select the priority by entering into the first option. Here, we have 2 options, aperture priority and shutter priority. We can select aperture priority if we are concerned with depth of field, or else, we can select shutter priority if we are concerned with exposure duration. Let us select aperture as our priority. A new screen appears displaying f-stop values. Use the navigator buttons to select your desired f-stop value and press the OK button to store it into the memory. As you can see, the values varies in 1/3 steps. Let us set f16 as our desired f-stop number. Now let us select an appropriate ISO number from the second option, depending upon our lighting conditions. The ISO value ranges from 25 to 25,000 and varies in 1/3 steps. For example, let's select ISO 400 and exit from the settings menu by selecting the fifth option. Now our selected parameters are stored into the memory, and will remain the same unless it is changed again. Once we have exited from the settings menu, we can now take our readings by taking the meter near to the subject, and facing it towards the direction of the light source, and finally towards the camera lens. To take a reading, simply press the OK button. The required shutter speed value is displayed for the selected aperture and ISO. You can also check the exposure of other lights by aiming sensor head towards them and set proper lighting ratios, and finally aiming it towards the camera lens. Set the same on your camera to get correct exposure. Similarly, for shutter priority, we will select the second option in the priority menu, and set the desired shutter speed. The shutter speed value is displayed onto the screen. We can select our desired value by navigating using up or down buttons. We will select 1/60 as our shutter speed, while keeping the ISO same, and exit from the settings menu. The meter will now display the required value for aperture for the selected shutter speed and ISO. In the next session, we will see how it reads correlated color temperature, using various methods. Thank you for watching.